Alex, boy, I'm happy you here, dog.
Yeah, I am too, man.
Man, we're gonna talk about a lot about this.
I'm already feeling this, man.
This is gonna be good.
Yeah.
We a month off, but we're gonna come back strong.
Ready to have a conversation.
This is gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
Got some co-parenting statistics that I'm gonna bring up in the second half of the episode.
Nice.
We can kind of feed off of that. Some good stats. I posted them on our store, but that's what I people that and I don't, everybody don't know what you and me know in terms of experience. What we talk about. We live. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Got a whole lot to talk about. So let's get into it, man. The Black Man Vent To podcast, guys. We back. Yes. We took a little month off, man. Y'all didn't know that, but we took a little month off from recording.
But the content didn't stop.
The content didn't stop, and it ain't gonna stop, man. Every week, man. The baddest podcast in Nashville, the only podcast that gives you a radio show feeling with a podcast undertone. The only Black father and son podcast in Nashville, Tennessee.
I highlight that word only.
Only.
Yeah.
Nobody else but us. I always remember that. Talking about mental health with our Black men, guys. I'm super, super excited to be getting on a different platform as well. To our BGO Live audience, they can see us and we can see them. Shout out to BGO Live and the agency that we're with, man. Make sure you guys tap into that app. It's a form of Twitch and TikTok put in one. And we were blessed, man, to be navigating now on that platform as well. We'll start using BGO Live a little bit more for our live broadcast. But other than that, man, I also want to give a shout out to Miss Aura May Smith. Miss Peaches, man.
206 in St. James Missionary Baptist Church.
Yeah. Just in case you want to know the location, man. This room and this episode is dedicated to Miss Aura May Smith.
Yes.
You had to know her to know her. You know what I'm saying? She was
you know what I like about this room too, man? It represents her well because she was a talker.
Oh, for sure.
She was definitely a talker.
She talked about it all, man. And all three of us as men, we've had our time with Miss Peaches, and she's a true saint. She's a true saint, man. But hey, let's get into it. Y'all know y'all tired of me talking, man. Let's get into what we got going on. It is October. Y'all done heard us kind of promote it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Co-parenting Conspiracies with the Black Man Vent To podcast, guys. Yeah. I'm excited for the guest that we have today. This episode and this season is not to bash baby mamas and baby daddies. It is to find out how baby mamas and baby daddies are affected by the conspiracies of co-parenting in regards to mental health. Mental health is what we about. That's right. And that's what we finna get on, man. I'm presenting to some, introducing to others. This brother is no stranger to this building, being St. James Missionary Baptist Church. No, you've seen him somewhere, seen him play, seen him sing. He is deep off into the music industry. Yes, sir. I'm gonna shut up. Presenting to some, introducing to others, Alex Brooks. Big dog, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the invite. I think this is a really good topic, and it's something that we really need to be talking more about it.
Yes, Lord.
I, for one, know that mental health is real.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about myself. Of course, I'm a preacher's kid. I come from
PK.
4 generations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's in my blood. It's in my DNA.
No doubt.
We have generations of great men that I can brag about. I can go on about. So I know the stock that I come from, and I'm grateful for that. I grew up right here in this church till I was about 10 years old. And then, I followed my dad when he became a pastor.
Right.
And just continue to, grow in faith and grow in God. You know what I mean? And going through life, we see things and we experience things. For me, that was being exposed to great men who mentored me, who taught me something, who poured a little bit into me out of their cup, so to speak. So I had a lot of influence, you know what I mean? Good influence.
Right.
And so I am who I am today because of that. I'm a musician, full-time musician. I play for a church. I play for a band called Ninth Power here in Nashville. We've done stuff in Middle Tennessee and even in Kentucky at this point, So we've done some things, neo soul, R&B, that sort of thing.
See, you tripping, man. I ain't know all that, man.
We ain't got no tickets or nothing.
Man,
we ain't heard about
nothing. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm not a promoter of self. I'm a promoter of God. So a lot of times I probably don't share what I should to kind of share some light on things that's going on in my life. But I'm definitely always moving.
Yeah, man.
Right. And so growing up and experiencing things I've experienced, as a man. And being exposed to the people as men that I grew up around, and even women. There's a lot of women influence. My grandmother, Miss Sarah Brooks. That's my heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? Clara Brooks, that's my heartbeat. Those two women who poured a lot into me. even as a young black man, I didn't understand that, you know, it takes a masculine and a feminine to really pour into you for you to really understand both sides of what your existence is.
Get that balance.
Because we come from man and woman. We're not just all men, we're not just all women.
Right.
So having those experiences allowed for me to really grow up in a nuanced way that I don't think a lot of people get to really experience.
For sure.
And so I'm grateful for that.
No doubt.
Not only am I a musician, but, you know, of course, I'm a father first, you know, I'm a friend, you know what I'm saying? I'm a son, I'm a nephew, I'm, you know, so I wear a lot of hats, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
But the one thing I'm most grateful for is that I'm a child of God.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. And I'm not perfect by no means, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I am who I am today because of everybody who's been around me, influenced me, poured into me. And I'm just grateful for those things, man. Right now, at 32 years old, I can say, you know, I am a single parent.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, in the sense that, you know, I had a child out of wedlock. We don't talk about it much. It's a subject that honestly it gets deeper and deeper the more you really open that hole.
Yes,
so,
sir. Yes, sir.
You know, that was not an experience I planned for myself, but God saw fit to allow some things to happen, and it molded me. Me and my granddad shared a moment when I first had my son, and it was a moment that still sticks with me to this day. Where we talked about in the Bible, there was this guy that he had a son, and before he had his son, he really was just doing his own thing. He had his own thing going on in life. He really wasn't walking in his divine will, what God had lined for him. And he really didn't trust that God had a plan for him. He was just kind of like, you know, figuring it out for himself. And when his son came along, the first thing he did was give his son back to God. And when he did that, God gave him a mandate. And because of that mandate, he changed his life. You know what I'm saying? He started to serve God, he started to walk in faith and raise his child in faith. You feel what I'm saying? And he became a different man because of that child. I related a lot to that because I know where I was mentally at a point before my son came. And you know, we don't talk about it a lot because in our community it's kind of taboo to really talk about it. But you know, mental health is real.
Oh yeah,
and it's something that impacts everybody.
Yes.
And so unless we really take the time to understand ourselves and understand where we come from and even understand the environment we come from, because a lot of times our environment is really what we pick up a lot of cues from. And people can look from the outside and think one thing about your environment and think you're supposed to come out this way. But when you inside and you live in it, those impacts hit you a lot differently.
That's so true. That's so true.
Even as a young preacher's kid, I struggle with things that nobody else would understand.
That's right.
Because they like, oh, you got both your parents? Oh, you got all these people that love your family and that, you know, pour into your family and this, that, and the third. You got all the support. But they don't recognize there's still things that happen in life because nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? And those things have impact that others can't see. And so unless we talk about it, nobody would ever know.
Say that, man.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Say that.
My son's the reason I started therapy.
Wow.
Come on, man.
My son's the reason I started
So
therapy.
before the son, you were not even considering therapy. So basically you did that as a sacrificial move for your child.
I knew I needed it.
To be a better father for your child. Exactly. See, that's one of the first rules of being a parent, man. When you become a parent, man, your life is, I'm not saying your life is done, but your life is not your life no more. Now your life is a part of somebody else's life, and they depending on you to help them make a life. You know what I'm saying? So that's when we got to get it together, man.
And that responsibility is huge. It's a taboo subject again, bro, because one thing about co-parenting and the conspiracies behind it, it presents uncomfort and accountability. And two big things. It's a little uncomfortable knowing that, you know, it didn't work for whatever reason between you and the mother, if you will. And then the accountability piece is, what did you do or did not do for the situation to go where it went? You know, nobody wants to take let me do it. Let me take my blame for what it's a constant, unfortunate back and forth thing. You know, it can be.
You're absolutely right. It can be. And this is something I was actually thinking about today in my thoughts. You know, one of the things that is, and I'm speaking from a man's perspective, one of the things that I had to recognize was the unintentional hurt that I caused. You feel what I'm saying? Because what I did understand was that a lot of her actions were emotionally based.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
so
Yeah.
I had to recognize that those emotions came from somewhere, and I may have played a part in that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so because I really started to evaluate that aspect of it, I could humble myself and, like you said, take accountability. Now, having that conversation is tough,
right?
Because number one, you got to be able to have that conversation and without the emotions.
Yeah.
So having a well-regulated emotional capacity when you're having a conversation, especially one that may be emotionally provoking because of the circumstances that you're discussing. And this is something I've, again, found myself in navigating this situation.
Right.
And one of the things that I can say is because I recognize my accountability, I was able to at least approach most conversations, uncomfortable conversations with a bit of humility.
Right.
And it takes a lot of humility to be able to pull yourself aside from your emotions and be able to have a conversation that involves creating understanding and cohesiveness.
Yes, sir.
And for me, I really couldn't do that in the mental space I was before I ever had a child. Even when my child was in the womb, navigating that time frame was mentally
without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt.
It was something that mentally I feel like I needed therapy to get through. I learned some things that I still carry now, you know, tools, so to speak. And before then, I think what a lot of black men especially have to understand is therapy is not because you're crazy.
Man, say that again, man. Rewind it and say that again.
Therapy is not because you're crazy. It does not make you crazy.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's just to help you navigate situations that you have never experienced in life, and you need not a spiritual guidance per se, but more of a secular guidance where you can actually have an understanding of some of the psychological aspects and impact, as well as some of the tools that can be used to navigate those situations.
Exactly.
I found out they call it the 5 C's of communication. And this was something that subconsciously I recognized in almost every communication I had with my child's mom. Conflict, aka criticism. That was one of the biggest things that I felt like impacted my relationship with my child's mom. Because she couldn't take a criticism that was coming from a place of love, because as my child's mom, I need you to be your best self so that my son can be his best self. Because as long as we pouring in our best selves, we're going to at least have the chance of creating something great.
That's right.
But when we pouring in bitterness or we pouring in spitefulness and all these other things, this back and forth, tit for tat, that's where we start to lose sight of the priority and the goal, which is raising really your future.
Yes.
Because upon my demise, I'm living through my child.
Come on, man.
You understand me?
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. And so we go through these battles fighting each other, so to speak, unnecessarily. Because again, if I know that the mother of my child is out here struggling, whether it's mentally, emotionally, financially, whatever the case may be, how can I be of service? With that said, we don't gotta like each other for me to take my child for an extra few days.
Correct.
If you need the mental break, take that break. Give me my baby.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Boom. And look, and she, and not only her, but you also, if you in that situation, you need to be able to say that without any feedback or any what you dealing with, what you own, and all this type of thing. And also, don't make me feel like, and we had to stop doing this as brothers too. Don't always feel like you the victim. And you're not the victim, you know, the woman, she's not the victim either. We still trying to make this thing work. So let's get rid of this victim mentality. Get rid of that, man. Because then nobody's a victim. We trying to make it work. So ain't no victim.
Situation,
well, it is the victim though if it don't work. The child is the victim.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And when you really even look at that aspect of the impact on the child living in 2 separate homes. I think about that all the time. It took my son almost, I say till he was about 1.5 to really get used to having mom's house and dad's house. Before that, there was so much back and forth with, you know, custody that he couldn't get comfortable. It was too much back and forth. And so once we got a schedule in place, naturally, he was able to find some consistency in that routine. And routine is vitally important. Oh man,
yes sir.
Vitally important for children.
Yes sir.
And consistency in that routine, even across homes, is important. And that's why, to me, humility, again, going back to humility, I'm not telling you how to run your household, but what I'm saying is this is how we do things over here when it comes to bedtime, when it comes to this. How are you doing things?
That's
so I can understand where we can align these things. You feel me? Because in the day, it ain't going to be always your way, always your way. We got to compromise.
Look, I'm laughing because we just had a situation like that this weekend, man. Well, he had his son, and some stuff went down. I ain't gonna say the situation, but something happened. He was expecting a response that he didn't get, so he snapped. And I just sit and watched him snap. You know what I'm saying? And then he figured when that happened, he got up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different over here, dog. It ain't like that over here. You know what I'm saying?
I think you pointed out a good thing, man.
Yeah, that was real good.
Kids have to get adjusted.
They have to adjust, and
to the not necessarily inconsistency, but the inconsistency of not having both parents in the same house. Y'all make sure y'all tap into the second part of this episode because we're gonna throw out some statistics from blackdemographics.com in relation to what we're talking about, and also context for today's episode. Alex is not gonna be the only man as a part of co-parenting conspiracy season. We will have women on this show on this season as well, so we get both sides of the equation on this season, man. But continuing the conversation, Alex, I want to steer it a little bit, man, to just ask you. When you first, and I ask all fathers this, man, because I know how I felt with my bonnet on and my lab coat walking in there, man. When you first laid eyes on your child, man, I'm talking fresh out. What was them thoughts that was going through your head?
Is that my baby? Because he looked like an alien, man. Like, I'm trying to tell you.
I had the same.
I was in the room, dog.
Man, my head looked like Hey Arnold when I first came out.
Hey, man, I thought something was wrong with him when he came out. I was like, Lord, something wrong with it, but we gonna keep it. We gonna work with it. Yeah, we gonna work with it.
But he just looked so different. And then he looks like me, and I never wanted to. You know what I'm saying? But that was my first thought.
That's funny.
And then after that, it was just this wash of emotion. It's like seeing something that you were blessed to create and see come into this world was an amazing experience. You know, and I'm grateful for my child's mom for allowing me to be there for that experience. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of men who was never around to be able to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That was the first and probably only time I ever want to see that's happening. Okay, just because as a man, and I'm not the most gory person, but
it's graphic.
It's graphic.
It's graphic.
It's graphic. It was a beautiful moment. Yes. I will say, but it's probably. I hold a hand on the other side of the curtain. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, man. Again, man, to any woman that's a part of our audience, man, kudos to y'all, man.
Without a doubt.
Whether it's a C-section, whether it's vaginal, however he or she, the baby's getting out of there. Oh my God! It's just a lot going on in that operating room, man.
I definitely would not want to trade places.
Oh God! Oh my God, man. But, man, just continuing the conversation, man, let's get more into the understanding of you coming from a two-parent household, but naturally in the co-parenting space. How does that dynamic? Because naturally I am of testimony to that as well. Mom and dad been married for 25 plus years, man. And, for me, Alex, and I'm quick little vent, 1 minute. That's all I need. I feel personally that I told my mom and dad this. They don't push the pressure, but it's a type of underlying pressure as a firstborn son, as somebody that, you feel me, was presented as the golden child in the family, however you want to word it. The point I'm trying to make is they've been at this for almost 25, 30 years. I want that. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to a situation where it didn't work out, talk about, man, how that plays a role, man, for the kids that did have the two parents. You know what I'm saying? And you seeing mom and dad, they getting along, they laughing together, they crying together. Like, it don't seem like they done ever had a bad day. And I know y'all done had some bad days.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't see it. But how does that pressure play a role in the co-parenting conspiracy?
Well, let me just start off by saying, kudos to y'all. Man. 25 years.
Praise God.
28. I knew I was all about that.
He said plus, so he got the plus right.
Plus 28, man. Congratulations.
20. Thank you, man. Praise God. Praise God.
Coming from a two-parent home, I did have a different dynamic. I was blessed to have a father who was there every day and night, as well as a mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That dynamic really help me, I would say, see how you manage a household, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
And the different roles that a mother and a father plays in a child's life.
Right.
Like one of the big things that still sticks with me now, and this is why I made this a thing with me and my child, is the barbershop. That's the father's thing. You know what I'm saying? My dad always took us to the barbershop. So that's something that naturally as a father now, that's something I take the role.
Little bonding time.
Yeah. Now, naturally, she may have not been in agreement with that initially, but she's got used to the fact that that's just something that, as a man, that I want to do for my child. You know what I'm saying? We come to an agreement and concordance in regards to that. But, that is something that I do think that as men, we have to find those moments to bond with our children. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not always so easy when you working, you're trying to take care of the household, you're trying to make sure this and that is taken care of, you're trying to protect the family, it's a lot that goes into that. But it definitely showed me those roles. And I feel like even as I grew up, seeing those roles and those dynamics play out, it led me to, want to take those roles on as a parent. But the struggle is not being in the same household. For example, if you live in Clarksville, but I live in Nashville, how we gonna manage sports teams? How we gonna manage this and that?
That's a struggle.
Versus
it can be
us
a
in the
struggle.
same household. You know what I'm saying? And so that impacted even my understanding now as a man. A lot of what I draw on comes from those experiences. You know what I'm saying? It draws from those experiences, and it's much more difficult to manage those dynamics when you're not in the same household. And so, even from a mental health perspective, I can say that I've talked to people and witnessed to people that I know their stories of growing up in a single parent household or a split household, and some of the experiences that I talk about, or the things that I value in relation to my parents and growing up, there's different priorities placed there, or there's different importance placed on some of those things. Like people who never grew up having a father that came over to pick them up and take them to games, they be like, I ain't really care about nothing like that. But for me, those are times that I really, as a child, look forward to. You know what I'm saying? My dad was my coach, growing up. So that was like, you know what I'm saying? So that means I got extra practices. You know what I'm saying? Like that was one of those dynamics. And with my mom, I'm a mama boy, so I grew up always under my mom at the house. You know what I'm saying? With the house, I learned how to cook. You know what I'm saying? As a man, that one thing I pride myself on is being able to cook for myself.
That's
I
good.
never got to ask a woman for a meal because I know how to put one together myself.
There you go.
There you go.
Yes, sir. And it's good too.
Yeah. So I got those different dynamics in that experience that helped me to kind of grow into the man I am now. You know what I'm saying?
Praise God.
And I try to instill those things even with my son. My son 2 years old, and that boy be in the kitchen with me every time I'm cooking. Trying to cut his own fruit up and everything. You know what I'm saying? I want him to see it. I want to see exposure is the most important thing you can give a child. And when you expose them to the right things, they'll develop the habits on their own. My mama didn't even know that her let me step in the kitchen and sliding a little dessert off the spoon and just hanging around like, what you doing? And you know what I'm saying? That allowed for me to actually learn something that I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? Now,
doing
for
that for
myself.
your child and your child.
And I'm teaching my child.
That's
to
cool,
do for
man.
himself. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. That's cool.
And that teaches, first of all, that teaches a man a level of independence that most men don't really have. You can't survive just off. Well, I'm not gonna say you can't survive, but your survival is in turmoil when you have to survive off of fast food or expecting somebody else to cook something. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, Lord.
You either gonna go broke or you gonna go hungry. You know what I'm saying? And noodles ain't gonna always cut. I did my thing in college because I ain't had them up but as a man, you know what I'm saying? As you grow into a man, it's important to be able to do certain things for yourselves. And so having that experience, growing up in a household with both parents, I feel like it did give me the best of both worlds. And granted, in my story, my parents didn't even stay together, my entire childhood. They got a divorce when I was about 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But I still draw on so much I learned from both my mom and my dad and the dynamic I was raised in. And now that as I am a man and I'm dealing with my own child growing up in a different dynamic. You understand me? I'm trying to find ways to still pour those things back into him. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep him exposed to good people. You feel what I'm saying? My son is smart as a whip, and part of that is because he's always been around older kids. He's always been around in social environments where he's been able to like really learn and pick up. You know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of people that's been poured into him. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the things I took from my 2-parent household that I try to, even as a single parent, I try to instill in my child. I try to expose him to as much good as I can because I know that ultimately that's going to pull something out of him. You feel what I'm saying? Whether it's people who done sat down with him and just, you know, went over his name and stuff like that. Now my son know how to spell his name, you know what I mean? He's learned these things and he's so advanced. Yeah. Because I feel like that he's been exposed to so much good.
Yeah, man.
And so that's one of the things that I really truly try to use as much as I can, especially in the again, split parent, we share 50-50, you know what I'm saying? So I have them half time, she have them half time. Right. And it allows for me to still have that impact. Yeah. Right. And I don't think that every child necessarily has that advantage. And to y'all black fathers out there, y'all need to start really stepping up in that area, because ultimately you can't look back and think, well, they should still love you because you did such and such. Right. Sometimes you got to look back and recognize that your part to play in the child's life can determine how they see you when they grow up. You feel what I'm saying? And so growing up in a two-parent household allowed for me to be able to be exposed enough to have that rapport with both my parents. Draw on those good things. You feel what I'm saying? And there may be some lessons in there that I might be like, okay, I might do this a little different. I might do that a little different. Right. Because again, growing up sometimes is about evolving. And when you evolve, sometimes the evolution may allow you to break certain barriers, so to speak, or what we call them generational curses. I don't like to use the word curses, but those generational situations, so to speak, that can allow you to break those things and find a new and more innovative way. One of the first things I learned about growing up in my two-parent household was structure is important for a child's development.
So true. No doubt.
And
so true.
There's some mothers right now who I know who could tell me more about their child than a father can. Why is that? Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's the question we got to ask ourselves, because sometimes as parents, we got to recognize where sometimes knowing your child means you understand where your child's coming or drawing experiences from. And you can't do that unless you experience it with your child. You see what I'm saying? That's good. Experiencing with your child will allow you to better understand your child. So the absence of you creates a misunderstanding. For sure. And so that's one of the things that I try to really, like, I take the time to talk to my child. He's 2 years old, but he can have a conversation. You understand? And part of the reason he can have that conversation is because I talk to him. I try to, you know what I'm saying, really spend that time with him. And he understands, he remembers, he's able to regurgitate information. And I know it's only because I spend that time. Yes. And so I'm going to keep emphasizing that, because I know that that's the most important thing we as parents can ever give our children. So true. More important than the possessions, the J's, you know what I'm saying, the Nike fits. That time. So that's what I can really say I really gained from just coming from a two-parent household and trying to navigate that situation. And so I do my best to give as much time to my child as I can.
It's big. I like it too, man.
I'll be looking on time. Okay, got a couple minutes. We'll get into a commercial break, man, because I really want to get into the second part of this conversation.
Before you do that, I'm gonna throw this nugget out here. I was talking to a therapist. I'm talking to my therapist, and she was talking about energy conservation. Okay. And this is something some people struggle with when it comes to, like, you know, putting that time into children, so to speak. And looking at life as 9 spoons. And with those 9 spoons, what you're gonna do in a day to spend with every part of your day, what you need to. And just understanding where you spend your energy at can help you put the energy where you really need it. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's hard to conserve the energy for the ones that's important for us, because we're so busy trying to provide. But we have to always remember that we have to reserve some spoons. You feel what I'm saying?
I like that.
Woo, that's a good one right there. I like that too, man. I like that. Man, you helped me with something. You don't even know. But you helped me with something. Yeah.
And when I find the article she sent me, I'm going to share it.
Please do share that, man, so we can share that on the page, man.
Anything that's mental health oriented, man, swing it our way. Facts, statistics, man. Those that's listening, man, tap in with us on that. Hey, man, let's get into the second half of this conversation, guys. Again, we're going to present some facts from blackdemographics.com to bring context to the co-parenting conspiracy season. We got Alex Brooks here, man, again, a Nashville native, man. We will get into the second half of this conversation, man, the good stuff about co-parenting conspiracies, the bad stuff about co-parenting conspiracies, right after this commercial break. This is the Black Men Vent podcast.
Yes, sir. Man, the worship service was great yesterday too, man. Boy, Hey man, you know your granddad, and well, I don't know if he had that conversation with you, but do he ever feel like he got to outdo somebody?
No,
because it tickles me, man. Because if he hear good preaching, he gonna come back and throw down. You know what I'm saying?
But he like to just leave it all there.
Well, he do that. He did it yesterday, man. He
tore
it up yesterday.
Yeah,
he tore it up.
That morning, how he had did.
He did. Look, I said, oh yeah. 11 o'clock. Cause see, he been up.
We live. We back, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the commercial break in the first half of the Black Men Vent 2 podcast. As we always say, if you're just not joining us, something's wrong with you.
Come on, man. Get in the game, man. Get in the game, man.
And get with my boy Alex Brooks and his co-parent to Conspiracy season, man. Shout out again to Orme Smith, man. Miss Peaches, rest in peace. Our Bigo Live audience, what's up, y'all, man? Make sure y'all tap in with us on Bigo Live as well. Let's get into the conversation, man. I'm going to shut up. And I just got one question to ask our brother on this new season that we're doing this month. Alex, what would you like to vent about today on Black Men Vent 2?
Well, I'm going to vent about what we're talking about.
Let's do it.
Co-parenting.
Yes, sir.
We got to take the ego out of it.
Yes. Yes.
My biggest problem is I can take accountability, but if your ego won't allow for you to accept my accountability, we got a problem. You understand me? And I feel like that's something, my struggle right now, with creating some cohesiveness in my co-parentship. I'm always stay humble. That's how I was raised to be. You know what I'm saying? But you can only take so much.
Oh,
people gonna go.
Everybody got a line. Everybody got a limit.
Yeah.
Even Jesus had a limit when he turned over them tables in the temple. That was his limit. Yeah. Y'all done went too far. You know what I'm saying? So everybody got a limit.
and that's what I want to be about, because sometimes when you're doing your best, but you still getting lied on, or you still getting bashed like you ain't doing enough, but you're not even providing. They're not even providing the opportunity for you to. Come on. I'm always up for a conversation, because conversation equals understanding. But if I can't even have a conversation with you without something, anything, taking it to 100, when we was on 10, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to prevent that. So we got to do better. We got to learn to communicate.
Yes.
And if that means you have to sit down with yourself, gather your thoughts, write them down. I have conversations now that I plan.
Wow. Okay.
Because I got to have my talking points together.
For sure.
I got to have my thoughts together. Especially if it's a conversation that I feel like we might have some backlash. And I'm at a point now where if we ain't got no communication and understanding, we ain't got nothing in the first place. So with my child's mom, at this point, if it ain't in writing, I don't want it.
Documented.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
There's times I might let something slide. But that's usually those moments where I'm in the middle of dealing with my child. Maybe we might be at a pickup or something. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I try to keep things in line and have some sort of log for things. Because one thing we got to understand as men is traditionally we are looked at as the aggressors no matter what the situation is.
Every time, bro.
You feel what I'm saying?
Talk about it. Wow. Every time.
And if you could be portrayed as a angry, violent black man by the woman who carried and dropped your seed.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Ain't no telling what else she would put out there on you. You feel what I'm saying? I went through that. I went through that. Had to go to court.
Yes.
Had to do interview.
Yes.
They asked drug test me. You see what I'm saying? For what? Because you thought I would hurt my child, my seed?
All that.
You see what I'm saying? So it's a struggle for us as black men mentally already, just being a black man existing in the world in general. And then you add on top of that somebody trying to sabotage your life with your seed. That's the struggle. I'm talking about days you just crying because you don't know what else to do. You see what I'm saying? And I know you can attest to this. You feel me? We got to do better, man.
The sad part I'm listening to you say, and I know I watched him deal with it too, is that, like you said, well, you said this in the first half. What is all that you're doing on that other end when I'm trying to, like you said, trying to have some communication? What is that doing for this child? How is that something that's going to be positive for the child? And that should be always should be the focal point, is the child. And see, it's sad, man, but a lot of times, man, like you said, when we're coming into a situation, when y'all deal with that, when you come into a situation where y'all need to talk about something, it need to be to the point where we can come with a clean slate.
That's right.
And if you're coming with something, like you said, you came to the table with something we wanted to discuss, and we was on 10, everything was chill. And then all of a sudden we skyrocketed. So before you got to the table, something was already going on.
That's right.
You already had something going on.
True.
So that needs to be put over here before you even come to the table when we talking about this child.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all about the child. Ain't talking about what happened at work. Ain't talking about having with your other boo and all that stuff. I'm talking about what's going to do with this child. That's when we come to this table for the child. And when I come to the table and I'm not clear, it's gonna get on 100 quick.
Yeah, absolutely. My therapist tells me all the time that we should be well regulated when we're having communication.
Man, it's sad, but it's real. It's sad, but it's real. They tell me all the time in the corporate world, man, when I'm doing managerial type stuff, you better keep a paper trail. If I send a dude an email on my job, man, you better believe I got it on a folder, dog. Don't try to erase it. Don't try to erase it, player. I already got it. I got it on lock. But that's the way the world is we live in now. You got to have a paper trail, man.
Because a child is your business. Yes. And so you have to treat it like a business. You know, I still got a receipt book now where I started writing down my receipts for everything. I'm talking about child care payments, insurance payments to her, any money I would just send her to help with that.
Yes.
I can't.
You better.
I still got that thing.
You better.
Yes, because the first time we went there, I'm like, you need to know what? Oh, okay. Flip back to my information. Oh, I got my laws. So I got my laws. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, but when you in a situation where you sometimes are dealing with that friction between one another, sometimes it's out of spite or it's just whatever the intent may be. You got to make sure you handle your business.
Right.
And going through that experience really taught me something as a man that sometimes when people start throwing them stones at you, you can't start getting yourself in this disarray mentally. Because I was going through it. You understand me? A whole month of not seeing my child. Really, it was longer than that if you include the court hearing. But I was going through it. That was at that point, I think I'd only been in therapy maybe about 6 months ago. But I leaned heavily on my therapist. Weekly meetings. Because I had some things just to talk about. Get off my chest. Because what I was feeling. And it gave me some good insight. And it helped me to understand patience. Because one thing, and God shows us in these different situations we find ourselves in that what is in store for us we can't understand. But if we have enough patience and endurance, we're going to see for ourselves.
Yes, sir.
You feel what I'm saying? And so I just had to be patient. I went through it. But because of what I went through, I really feel like that's what helped me to dive in and really find the value of supporting my mental. Because at that time, some of the things that I was diving into and finding myself mentally, mentally, it was one of those things that I could not handle alone. And sometimes, I guess it was one of those things for me that I didn't want to bother. I felt like a bother my family with it. So I'd rather just talk to somebody else and get that, that one-on-one from a non-biased source. You know what I'm saying? And that's things that I've definitely talked about with my family because, that familial experience is always going to be helpful to draw on. You know what I'm saying? But for me in that situation, I definitely needed more of a professional perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really what it comes back to when it comes to what I dealt with was how it impacted me mentally. And if it wasn't for me seeking help on my own, well, I ain't even gonna really say on my own because I have had people encourage me. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate those people who encourage me.
Without a doubt.
And now it's allowed me to help navigate this situation. Even now, I'm still drawing on tools and things that I took back then to navigate that. Because my struggle was trying to figure out whether I even wanted to deal with the situation or not at times. Or my struggle was, do I want to live through this experience? My struggle was, where do I go from here? The unknown. You see what I'm saying? And it's not too many people who can speak on that from a professional or personal experience. Right? So it takes a lot to go into co-parenting and dealing with situations that you find yourself in. And as black men, we have to understand that traditionally, the way it's traditionally worked, if you get a woman pregnant outside of wedlock, traditionally the responsibility is on you to provide, and they traditionally only barely give you weekends. So you become a weekend parent who pays for the child to live with his mom.
Talk about it.
Is that fair? Absolutely not.
No. No, but it's sad. But that's like you said, black men, please get this. You're gonna have to deal with that until the laws will change. Now, this when it comes down to when we tell y'all young people to vote. This is what we talking about. That's what we talking about.
Yes.
Well, you want to get some people in there that can maybe rectify some of that, man.
Absolutely.
Because the way it stands right now, it's sad because, and you know what? Again, we're not here to bash no women, but I can say this. All a woman has to do is just say that you did something.
That's it.
She ain't got to have no evidence.
That's it.
She ain't got to have no scratches, bruises, or none of that. All she got to do is say it. And you going to jail, buddy.
You know? If you ain't going to jail, you're under investigation.
That's right. Yeah, that's
and
it,
that come with a order of protection.
Yes.
Come on, Alex. Come on.
And you know what the craziest thing is
come on, man.
When I went through my situation, I knew that I was vindicated before it ever even really came, the whole situation played out. But as a father, I knew what was being accused as a bruise, so to speak, wasn't even a bruise. So I already knew my son came out with this hyperpigmentation, type of thing. So I knew my child. And the fact of the matter was that for somebody to even accuse you, that means they have to believe that you're capable. You see what I'm saying? And there's an insult to my character of how I grew up.
Wow,
you understand what I'm saying?
You said something right there. You said something right there, man.
To accuse a man that you know comes from good stock.
That's a big point.
Yeah, he said something right there.
And it's a point of manipulation to get their way through a system. Because as men, we gotta fight. If you have a child out of wedlock, number one, you have no rights to that child. I didn't know this until I had a child.
Retweet.
You don't have rights as a man out of wedlock until you go to court.
Yes, sir.
And in court,
sad.
That's where you fight.
And see, we have to understand too, man, that's one of them tools, man, of the enemy, man, that he uses to try to, we always talk about that, to take the black man out of the black home. That's what it's all about, man. Yes, sir. That's what it's. Now that's a conspiracy right there. To get the black man out of the black home. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast, but that's a conspiracy, man.
Alex pointed out something, man, that a lot of men,
that was big.
That was a big point.
That was big.
But I think to generalize it, men are logical. Women are emotional. That's the thing I think you got to understand before you get into any type of relationship, any type of conversation.
Yes.
I'm not saying expect the worst when you talk to women, if you will, but do understand you may get some emotions come from them because that's in their inner being. You know what I'm saying? They are nurturers. They by nature. You know, they are emotional by nature. And so the beautifulness of having one and one together is it should be the two parents that the man is going to give you the logic with a little bit of emotion. The woman's going to give you emotion with a little bit of logic.
Exactly.
It's not always that case.
No.
But one thing you just said that I got to touch on, that big point, is that it is very, very manipulative for a black man's character. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we made this child out of love.
Yep.
So you got to know, I would not do what you just said or just thought that I would do to our child.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
They know.
And like
that's
you
how I
said,
feel.
and like you said, and check the record though. See, some people could come from a violent situation, and you can see that happening. But when you've seen the granddaddy, the grandmama, you know the history of the family. Come on now. Unless it's just something that's really truly going on with that daddy outside of the upbringing and all that. And then you probably gonna see that in the courtship. If you didn't see it, you weren't trying to see it. It was there, but you weren't trying to see it.
His son's birthmark. Okay, as a navigating point to say that, you did.
And the sad part about it, and the court jumps in on it.
They be right along with it.
But let me tell you how God works when you have some patience.
Come on.
Because I did the interview, I cooperated. You know what I'm saying? I did the interview. They asked me about the drug test. They did whatever they was going to do. Because I cooperated, and I allowed my son to go through the medical exams or whatever they had to do, I was able to get primary custody of my son for a period of time when he would have been in a power of attorney's care.
Yeah.
Because my child's mom was out of town.
Wow.
And with some military stuff, so she was gone for some months. You know what I'm saying? And because I was patient, because I did what I was supposed to do, I wasn't bigger than I even realized. I didn't know. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to go in here and be working with a power of attorney on visitation. And I come in here and I get primary custody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you gotta know how to fight. I had to go get a lawyer. I had to pay you know what I'm saying?
You gotta do all that, man.
You gotta do. But again, that's your business.
Yes.
Your child is your business. And when you treat it as such, sometimes those sacrifices you make is because you know something greater is coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. You know what I like what you just said, make your child your business. So they'll let you know, we talking about this earlier, that's the sacrificial part of being a parent, man. And so y'all had to experience that before you really even got a chance to bond or be with the child for an extended period of time. Y'all had to see what the parenting thing is about before y'all ain't got to really be a real parent. It's the sacrifice part.
The sacrifice.
But the thing, man, in terms of just the conspiracies behind it, when you talk about mental health, going to court ain't fun. When you know you didn't do it.
Nope.
You know you didn't do it. They know you didn't do it. But you still got to battle it. You got to go through the OPs. You got to go through the restraining order. I just want to see my child. I ain't really asking for much. And then when we talk about, you know, the elephant in the room, the deadbeat daddies, they got it made.
Oh man.
I mean,
don't take this out of context. Don't cancel us. Don't take me wrong for what I just said.
Hey, nah,
but think about it.
Them dudes that don't
versus
care,
the
they do
trans
got it
one,
made.
I got it made. I feel like I got it made.
I know of people who know who their child's father is. The man that told them straight up, I don't want nothing to do with it, and they don't force them to.
Don't ask for child support. Nothing.
Sir,
I know something
what
like
are we
that.
talking about
You're
here?
right.
The math ain't mathing, bro.
But you want child support and we on 50-50 custody. You know what I'm saying? That makes
The
sense.
math ain't mathing. It ain't mathing.
And again,
ain't
if you need something as a man, I'm not gonna watch my son be in a household that's suffering.
Come on. Yes, sir.
I don't gotta like you as a person to make sure that my son is straight. Because again, I love you for being a part of the creation of a seed.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So because of that love I have for you, I'm gonna always make sure
it happen.
I don't have to like you right now.
Right.
That's not a part of it.
And like you said, we don't have to be in a relationship for me to still co-parent.
Yeah,
we don't have to be in a relationship.
We should be able to coexist again for the bigger picture. That baby.
Because again,
but they know how to, but over time, because of the way courts have always traditionally sided, it's this idea that all I gotta do is just make him take me to court. If you want to do something, take me to court. It's like,
and they say it knowing that that's their power trip.
There you go.
Weapon, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's my ace in the hole.
Yeah, that's it.
That's my ace in the hole.
For sure, man.
If you want this, you gonna work for it, so to speak.
Yeah.
But you know what I like about your story and his story, though? And both of y'all talk about patience. And sometimes we go down a different road to get to what God wants us to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so sometimes God has to use this bad to make it out of something good.
Yes,
Romans 8:28. He had to take a bad thing and work it with a good thing and mix it all up, man. And then when it come out, it's a great thing.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so sometimes what y'all went through, man, if nothing else, you'll be able to tell the story. You'll be able to help somebody else that's going through this. And you always can look back and say, I was this dude then, but I'm this dude now. And it took all that to make me this dude, but I'm this dude.
And then our natural rebound, man, like I said, is that we will bring black women on the show because I'm sure your child's mother has a story too. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be real.
And she got her side. And then we making sure we're not bad. We're just talking about the situation in general. You know what I'm saying?
Because again, the past for me.
Yeah,
I'm over it. I'm not, I'm not consumed by it because I know at the end of the day, what I worked for, I'm now seeing the fruits of.
For sure.
Because the relationship that I have with my child is something I could never pay enough money to have.
That's
what
right.
I'm saying?
That's right.
Because I can't get time back. But what I can do is enjoy the time I got. You understand what I'm saying? Because the present is the only gift we really get. You know, and God sometimes puts us in a situation to learn some long suffering because we're going to be better for it. And the fruit that we bear from that experience. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Now, that's the true part about it. You can look back and say that now, but when you was in it,
when you living it, I told y'all the dead right.
Yeah, man. When you in it, man, it's a different ball game, man.
Let me now's the time, guys. I want to bring up a real quick statistic line, man, just to kind of give some context to what we're talking about. And Alex, I'll just read this line out to you, man. You just let me know what you think. Contrary to popular belief, 42% of black children live with two parents, while 51% live with one parent. The reason why this is not well known may have to do with the commonly repeated statistic regarding out of wedlock births, which is a 70% rate. So you got out of wedlock births at 70%. You got 42% of black children that live with two parents. 51% of them black children live with one parent. What you think about that?
So that's surprising. I'll say this. Well, part of it's surprising. 71% out of wedlock is not surprising.
No.
But the ratio of a two-parent home is surprising to me. I don't think that I ever even expected to be a single parent. You know what I'm saying? Let alone the multitude of people out here that are experiencing that for themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm very shocked that it's 49, 51.
Basically 40,
so
50.
almost 50-50, even with 70%. But that should also tell you that there are couples who are trying to co-parent even within the same household, even outside of marriage.
I just say, and that's what I was thinking about. Even though they're not married, they still trying to make the parent thing work.
And let me throw this in there. 46% of those black children live with their mother only. 5% live with their father only.
Wow. 5%.
Wow.
42%
5%
live with their mother only. 5% live with their dad.
That's ugly.
That's
ugly. And because what 5% of what them children's gonna miss, and every child needs is whether they get it or not. You need some type of male perspective in their life, man. I'm talking about a woman, a little girl needs that as well as a little boy. They need some type of male perspective as well as a female perspective. Right. They need all of that, man.
Well, you said earlier in the episode that 5%, that's a common showing that they're trying to take the system. Trying to take the black man out the household. 5%.
Yeah. And we as brothers, man, we got, it's sad that you have to fight the way you got to fight, but that's the reason you have to fight the way you fight, because you see what they're trying to do to us, man. So we gotta fight, man. You gotta fight, man.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody would say that 5% is a good number.
No, because when
you really think about it, especially like as a black man, I could never say that I could really gain the experience I gained from just being in a single mother's household. I needed that black male role.
Right. And you got some strong black males, in your lineage, man. Yeah.
And so I think that that's vitally important. And so I think that number should really go up, because in some situations, the father probably is the best for that child.
And the courts, again, never really try to navigate that, because as you said earlier, when you step in court behind a co-parenting situation, you are the aggressor because you're the man. It does not matter what the judge knows, what the DA. Like you are the aggressor. I did not know that when I was, just going through what I was going through, that Tennessee, I think the state was top 5 for domestic violence cases.
Wow.
Yeah, at a certain point, top 5 for domestic violence cases. So it's a reason why if she scratch herself, you going to jail. Top 5. Yes. So that's just the dynamic we in, man. But man, to wrap up real quick, man. First off, brother, if we had 30 more minutes, I'd let you talk for 30 more, because I know it's a lot more. I know it's a lot more, man, that we can get into. But to wrap up, man, what we want to do naturally is first off, say thank you for being literally the first
thank
leg
you, my brother.
of the Black Men Vent co-parent to Conspiracies podcast.
Points, man.
It's been good.
Very
we
good
want to ask you an engaging question
good.
that we ask every guest at the end of the show in relation to mental health, man.
Well, let's just flip it a little bit, because now we're in the co-parenting conspiracy season. It needs to be something geared toward this father being a father.
Oh, for sure.
For
sure. So I can stage it this way. Naturally, you're in a situation where, let's just say,
because he said he was there.
Yeah, for sure. We both were. So naturally, man, you at your end point, so you're talking to somebody who is just like you. They listen to this podcast. They done heard your story, man, the success behind it and what you went through in it. They're literally thinking about jumping the bridge. They thinking about, man, taking them pills. They thinking about ending it all. I can't see my son. I can't see my daughter. Why am I here? What can you tell that young man? And then again, young woman, because like I said, I'm flipping it both ways so that our audience knows this ain't baby mamas versus baby daddies. This is mental health versus mental health. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So talk to that young woman, that young man who, one young woman can't see her son or daughter. Young man can't see his son or daughter. They think about checking out right here, right now. They need you in 3 minutes to give them something that's related to mental health, related to your story, to get them, man, off that bridge, put them pills down, man, and help them to live for that child that they made. Talk to them.
So let me say this. I'm gonna start off by just sharing something, personal. I've been in that place. I know what it's like to not feel like you can live alone. And you just gotta trust God. You gotta pray. Because one of the things, we can do nothing without Christ. We can do nothing without God. Through all things, You understand? Through all things. So I think that's the first thing is we got to make sure that we are grounded in our faith. Stay grounded in your faith, stay grounded in the word, and get you a little extra. Find you a therapist.
Yes.
Somebody to talk to, somebody that can give you a perspective outside of just a family member, somebody who ain't necessarily been in your shoes or even has the education to be able to give you some gems and nuggets to help you through what you're going through.
Right.
Yes.
Because there are professionals out here who are trained specifically to help you deal with certain things, whether it's behavior issues, whether it's particular mental health diagnoses, whether it's suicidal ideations. There's somebody out here you can talk to. There's a crisis number you can actually call, and I hope I'll make sure y'all get that. Put that out there. It's a suicide hotline that you can call and reach out to somebody, because one thing you have to remember is nothing is ever too big for God, and as long as you can wake up tomorrow, that's a gift $1 million can never buy.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Because you get a new day to try again.
Day. Yeah.
And having a new day to try again allows you to really work on what you have, goals in your life, what you have prepared, what you thought for yourself for the future, just allowing yourself the time. And so before you take them pills, before you, pull out a pistol, whatever, think about that.
Yeah.
Think about the fact that tomorrow when you wake up, you have a new opportunity, a new present in that presence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
In waking up and having a new day.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So remember that there's always the gift of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And trust God.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
Because there's nothing else we can do.
Yeah, I love it,
without
man.
him.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do we have time to get his social media?
Go
Alex,
for it.
man,
Go for
first off, dang, that was good. First things first, man. Thank you for that, man. Social media handles, man. I know you said you're in a music group. You just got a lot going on, man. How can our audience get in contact with you?
Okay. So as far as the band and all the other stuff, you can pretty much follow me on Instagram, IG, at Gifted Differently. Literally smashed together.
Yeah.
Two D's. And then also you can follow me on Facebook as well, Alex Brooks. I have a lot of music stuff posted on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm working on building a TikTok. That handle for TikTok, I haven't memorized that one.
It's a different thing, bro.
Yeah. I'm trying to learn these different things out here, just trying to pick it up. But it's also Gifted Differently at that one apparently as well.
For sure.
Yep. So
and we'll drop all
all
the names in the description.
Okay, most definitely. You can reach me on all those platforms and you can check out what I do.
Yeah.
I love
Hey,
it.
man, I'm looking forward to seeing my wife like live music, so I know when she hit it, she's gonna be like, when we going? So you gotta make sure you let us know.
I'm gonna start posting.
Yeah, you gotta let us know, man.
Posting them shows, man.
Yeah, you gotta let us know.
I appreciate y'all fellas, man.
Man,
We appreciate you, man.
It's been
Yes,
good.
sir.
It's been good,
This is a
man.
real good start to a real important subject matter,
Yes, sir.
man.
Yes,
So we
sir.
appreciate it. Yes, sir. Appreciate
Hey, man, wrapping up, man. This is the first episode of the Co-Parenting Conspiracy season, man. We got a lot more coming, man. So make sure y'all tap in with the
Yes,
best
sir.
podcast in Nashville, the only podcast that gives you a radio show feeling with a podcast undertone. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. You can do what you can, and you can't with what you can't.
Nashville, until next week, it's a wrap. Black man, don't get trapped.
Yeah.